In today's tutorial video, I'm going to show you how to assemble your tote bag if you've purchased one of my patterns. My name is Kim and this is extraquilts.com. Alright, so what I've done here is I've taken the liner and I've boxed out my corner. I've squared up my corner so it should look like something like this. You're going to do it to the liner and to your quilted panel. So we've sewn these all together, and what I have done, I'm going to quickly undo it so you can see what we're talking about. So we've sewn our quilted panels together, right sides together, all the way around. And now what we're going to do is we're going to take that corner and in the opposite direction, we're going to bring it out. It kind of helps to put your finger in there and then pinch it and then make a measurement. I know you can't see it because it's pencil, but I've made a measurement, and this will depending on the size of your bag, so you can just refer to the pattern for this measurement, but I believe I have 1 1/4 inches from the corner here, and I've drawn a line all the way across. I'm going to take my pin and I'm just going to pin it, and then I'm going to take it over to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew across that line on both sides of the bottom of our tote. Alright, so I've come back from my sewing machine, and you should have something that kind of looks like that. It looks like you have ears on your tote. So what we're going to do is we're just going to flatten it out where we've drawn sewn our line here, and leaving a 1/4 inch seam, we're just going to cut that corner off like that. And we're going to do that to both sides of our tote. I have some stuff hanging out with me here. Okay. We're just going to do that on this side as well. This one was a little cockeyed, but that's okay. Okay, so now we have our tote, and the box corners are all ready to go, like that. And we have our liner completed. So we've done the same to the liner. I did that off of camera, so you don't need to see it twice. And this is a dark fabric, so it makes it kind of hard to see, but we've done the same thing. I don't know if you can really see that in camera, but we've done exactly the same thing to both the quilted panels and the liner. So in this next step, we're going to install the strap. So with the wrong side of the bag facing out, the right side is inside, we're going to take the strap and align it. I don't know if you can see that. It's a dark fabric, unfortunately, but what I have done is I've taken the raw edge of the strap and I've pinned it in the center of the seam of the bag. Do you see that? Like that. And we're going to do the same to the other side, making sure that the strap inside of the bag is not twisted. And the best way to do that is just bring it through your fingers. And we're going to do the same to this other side. So we're going to align that center seam to the center of our strap, raw edge to raw edge, and we're just going to pin it a couple of times to keep it in place. Just like that. And we're just going to sew right across it. So I've brought it back to from the sewing machine, and I've gone over this strap a couple of times to secure it nice and tightly in there. We are ready to insert our lining inside of our tote and sew it all up. So what we want to do is keep the tote with the beautiful motif on the inside of the bag. Okay, so the ugly side is facing us. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our lining, which is right now it's wrong side out. Do you see? You can see those seams. Well, we don't want to see them when we put it inside of the bag. So we're going to turn this right sides out, like so, and just give those corners a pop with your finger, like that. And like that. So right now we're looking at the right side of the lining. You see that? We can't even, there's no exposed seams. And now what we're going to do is we're going to insert it into our tote bag, just like that. Okay, so right sides are facing each other inside of the bag, okay? And then what we're gonna do is we're going to take our seams, the side seams of our liner and the tote, and we're gonna line those up on the sides here. Hopefully you can see that. So I like to use binder clips for this so I don't stab myself with the pins, because that is not fun. I tend to do that. So we are gonna continue. I like to put a clip on either side of the side seam here. I just find by doing the seams first, the tote lining lines up really nice. So we're gonna go to the other side and line up those side seams. Like so. And again, give it a clip on either side of that seam, those seams. Like that. And the next step what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop the bag the opposite way. So we're going to try to get the liner back into the bag actually. And remember, our strap is down inside. That is really important. Okay, so now we're just going to open up the bag that we've clipped it like that, right? On those seams. And now we're just going to line up the other side of the bag, right? Like that. And then we're just gonna clip those first. Hopefully I am making sense to you. Like so. I find that if you do it this way, the lining goes in really, really nice. And you don't have puckering. Sometimes you have puckering, you can't get away from it. I hate puckers. But it happens. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to place clips in between the center and our seams to hold it in place. I go clip happy with this because I want my liner to be nice, and honestly I'm trying to avoid puckers. But you do you. Okay, I'll bring up the liner a little bit on this side. I'm running out of clips. Okay, so we are at the last gap here, and what we want to do is make sure that we leave, I can't remember what I said in my pattern, but I think it's like a 4-inch gap, I believe. So we just eyeball it, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. But what we're gonna do is leave a gap, and here is where we're going to put our needles. And the reason I do that is to tell me where to start and stop sewing. So then I don't sew the entire thing closed, because you need a gap, this gap in between those pins, in order to turn the bag the right side out, correct? Okay, so now we're gonna start here. We're gonna sew all the way around the bag to this other needle, and we're gonna back stitch on both sides. Remember to do that. And then we're going to take the liner and pull it through this hole that we left, but I'll walk you through that in a minute. I'm just gonna go over to my machine and get this sewed up. We have gone and we've sewn all the way around our bag except for the gap, of course. So we've left this gap here, and this is where we're going to turn our bag the right side out. So we're just going to reach our hand in there and gently pull everything out. Look at that, isn't that pretty? Turned out really cute. Okay, so we are just going to push the liner into the bottom of the bag. I like to give it a shake, that kind of helps a little bit. And you can use, actually I like to pop my corners out with a chopstick. I keep those. Yeah, I just keep a couple clean ones, not used, of course, but I like to keep them around because they're really handy for popping out corners and things like that. So that's what I normally use. But yeah, here's our tote so far. So the next step, what we want to do is I'm going to take this over to the iron and I'm going to fold that gap over. So then we have a nice clean finish here. And I'm going to iron it all. Actually, I'm going to iron the whole thing around, shoving the liner down. So, but after I have ironed it and I've pinned it, I'm going to sew all the way around the bag. Because that will secure your liner inside the bag from popping out all of the time, and it just gives it a really nice clean finish as well. So we're just going to go over everything and tidy stuff up, but that is our first step. So I'm going to take it over the iron and we're going to give it a press so we don't have to fight with those seams popping out while we're sewing. So handy. And I'm just going to go around and give it a press. And I'm just gonna roll the liner down and in, because I find that that really works when you're ironing it. And then, like I said, we're gonna sew it all the way around. We're gonna top stitch it all the way around the bag. So I just put it back from the sewing machine and we finished securing that gap closed and also doing a top stitch all the way around the bag. And I used 1/8 of an inch, something like that, for the top stitch. I did a really tight stitch. I forgot to change the stitch width, but that doesn't matter. It looks really good. Really happy with how it turned out. And that is how you assemble your tote bags. You can find all of the patterns for my totes and pouches and quilts and all of that over at eggshellquilts.com. I will have the link in the description. Subscribe, like, comment. I really appreciate it. And we'll see you next time. Bye now.